We've just completed a week of outreach with a local church here in Northern Ireland, and we spent a couple extra days just to see around, and we stayed at a bed and breakfast here on a farm in Castle Rock, and it's really cool because the goats have just been sheared. We're on our way out to Greencastle. Now there's a ferry. Castle Rock is in Northern Ireland, Greencastle's in the Republic of Ireland, so it's a long way around. Without the ferry, but with the ferry, it's a quick little trip. And we're especially headed towards a special forest in Greencastle that's been maintained by one of our friends, Liam. So we can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Join us for the journey. We spotted some dolphins. There they are. Hello. It was a very nice little ride over. Thanks.
The red lines are paths. The thick red lines were cut by machines about 5 or 6 years ago just. Up until then, I kept getting lost in my own forest. It's a community resource for well-being, physical, mental and spiritual. And that kind of sums up everything I want to see happening in the forest. Our portal on the world is Carnagarve Forest Friends Facebook page.
How old are the oldest trees here?
Say 31 years. You see little red berries? Yes. Those are wild cherries. It's a native Irish tree. I said this is one of the clearings. It used to be much smaller, and then last February we had a storm, Storm Éowyn. Can you see that? The roots there? That ash tree came down then. The tallest tree I think in the forest was a poplar, is lying over there on top of another one. So I'll be getting somebody in with chainsaws to if only make it a bit more secure and safer. You will see in all directions, indeed, this bush. Foresters hate it. It's a form of wild raspberry. It's salmonberry. And look, they are edible, but we're past the best. Those are far too hard. But I don't hate salmonberry as much as I'm supposed to, because those long, straight stems I have used for all sorts of things, including this. This is dead hedging. Is it? They're not the best berry. They're not as nice as blackberries. They're not as delicate as proper raspberries. And I say it is a weed. It's an invasive from North America. And some people say I should root it all out, but for goodness sake, how could you? The real crime is that it smothers more delicate native plants. Sure. So as far as I'm concerned, this is just one big classroom, an outdoor classroom. I'm not interested in cutting down the trees for firewood or anything else. Okay, so we go across 3 trenches and then to your left. Okay, you're looking at sycamore.
Okay.
There. Okay. The branches outside the gate are oak, and they're both doing very well. The ash trees here, the tall, slender ones.
Oh, we've got an ash in our backyard.
Well,
So that's 30 years from now. That's what our ash tree will look like.
well, except that these ones are they're diseased. They've got ash dieback.
Oh, okay.
You can move the stumps, by the way, if they're not where you want. One of the local primary school teachers brought a class here with a professional storyteller. They had a story time here. And then they went and they wrote their own stories about trees, and they published a book, and they took photographs here.
Oh, that's lovely.
And their photographs are in the book. Question for you, girls. Is that natural or man-made? See, anytime you get a group, there'll always be different. Okay, argue.
I think it'd be pretty hard to put this heavy stone so high up on top of one another.
Considering it's at least 100 years, that was there long before my family even owned the land. We got it in the 1960s. So you're talking pre-pneumatic. So it's natural. Maggie disagrees. Jane. Yeah. If you want to get fanciful, there's all sorts of options. But it's a lovely discussion starter normally with people, and I never give an answer. I don't have the final answer.
We don't know.
I have my suspicion.
What's your suspicion?
I'm not going to tell you my suspicion. I retain an air of mystery about it all. I had one person, he said, standing here, I can hear 5 different birds.
Wow.
My father died in 69 then, and things were kind of up in limbo for a long time. But by the time I married 39 years ago, we got it sorted out, and I relinquished the home farm at Rocktown to my uncle, then to my cousin now, my cousin's son. But I got all the land here at Carnagarve. It's, a lot of people will call this Bradley's land, because there was some big landowner, Bradley, I don't know a thing about him. There were many more houses than there are at the moment. Nowadays, everybody lives along the main road. So there are a number of little dwelling houses. Well, one in particular. But I'm not quite sure who my father bought it from.
So maybe him.
The government is taking its responsibilities to encourage biodiversity and reforestation. So they have given a whole series of grants, and I am going with, under the guidance of a local forester, Ross Buchanan, I'm going for a grant for native trees, and I'm taking out of agricultural use 23 acres adjoining the present forest, and I'll be putting them under native trees.
Looks like Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, that's the vibe I want. So you'll see a bird box up the tree there. Two brothers brought their ladder and got that up for me. There's only 1 or 2 seats here, I'm afraid. I'm going to try to have at least half a dozen seats in each clearing.
How did you learn to do the dead hedge? Did you just do trial and error?
To try and error. Oh, but Patrick said, "Oh, why not try this?" And if you do Google dead hedging, it'll be something a bit like this. And I've seen it elsewhere. But basically, put in some I bought a sledgehammer especially for this, and a little axe. So I'd put a point at the end of that. Use a sledgehammer to drive it in so that it's firm, and then you start weaving anything you find through it. The salmonberry can be quite good for that. Now, there's 2 ways of seeing. You can see the animal itself, that's rarer, or you can see what they call the scat, the dung left behind. So there are foxes have been in here, there are badgers. Okay.
Badgers and foxes.
Birds, there's quite a selection of birds. Oh yeah, foraging. Well, apart from the salmon berries, and there's mint somewhere. Sometimes you've passed and you realise there's a smell of mint. But you would get that in hedgerows as well. I had one lady who brings a group here for ecotherapy, and she said, "Do you have nettles?" And I said, "Oh, don't worry, they won't sting." No, I want to make tea. And she gathered enough nettles, brought them down to the pond, and she has insurance to cover. So she brings her fire pit. They roast marshmallows and they make nettle tea.
Oh, that's lovely.
They come every year. Can you see a face there? Yes. Like an old medieval warrior with his helmet, his heavy eyebrows. We didn't plant holly at all. It's self-seeding. Do you know what these are here? Those were pods of bluebells. And when I had the language group here, the whole bottom of the forest here was awash with bluebells. It would take your breath away. So the path continues on to point 6, but we're going to come off on a spur into the pond clearing. My son Joss, he lives in Spain, but he'll be back for 3 weeks now at the end of next week, working from home. And he doubled the width and doubled the depth of that to make it a half decent pond. Forest Church took off quite a bit during lockdown and all. They would have every 6 weeks or so Zoom. The last one, there were about 16 of us on it. I was the only one from Ireland. And you had the south of England, you had the north of Scotland. And somebody there said something that got me thinking. He actually badges his community in creation with Christ. CCC. What I'm trying to do is what I call a nature video link. And the pattern is you go, you spend a little while getting familiar with your spot.
Yeah.
At an agreed time, you do a video call. You have a little video call. Describe what you have in words. Show it with a 360 pan around. Choose a few things to zoom into. And then share a parting thought on each side. 10, 15 minutes. And I would love to get a number of people who would do nature video links. And for next summer, for a midweek group, I would like maybe 3 people to go to one place. Could be St. Colm's Park, could be Carnagarve Forest, could be a beach somewhere. And then just have a WhatsApp group and people just link up on nature video link calls.
Nice.
I want to get this clustered around Christian Christ thinking.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Scripture.
That's great.
So if I ever contact you and say, would you be interested in? From the start, I envisaged Carnagarve Forest to be a community resource for well-being, physical, mental and spiritual, and I want to see it continue that way.
What was your highlight from today?
Probably my highlight of the day was crossing on the ferry, especially the way over to Greencastle, because there was a group of dolphins that they kept coming out of the water and going back in. It was really a treat to see that. And then when we talked to Joyce and Liam, they said that actually is quite rare. So it really was a special sight to see. And the part of the forest, my favorite part was we saw the dead hedges, and I grabbed a stick, and then I grabbed another stick, and I said to Liam, I said, do you think I could weave this into the dead hedge? And he said, yes. And so I thought, right, I want to do that. So I kept gathering sticks as we were walking, and my favorite stick that I picked up was this root from a tree. I grabbed a root, and then I grabbed another one, and when I pulled it up on the end of the root, there were these a series of tiny little mushrooms that were alive on the edge of the root, and that was really cool to see. And then when we got there to the dead hedge, I just kind of set them all on the ground, and then people just kind of picked the sticks up, and we just kind of wove it into the dead hedge, and I really, really enjoyed that.
I think my favorite part of the day was at the end of the day, after we came out of the forest, Liam took us to his house to use the bathroom. Joyce came in, and she had actually been back at Cornerstone doing their food outreach on the Wednesday. And then we sat and had a really nice chat. And it felt like, although we've moved away 11 years ago, it felt like, you know, it had just been a week, you know, and we were catching up on all the news and how, you know, different people that we have in common, how everybody was doing and all of that.
It almost felt like Liam had a bit of a Mary Poppins bag because he just kept going, oh, would you like to try my homemade wheaten bread? And then would you like to try a smoothie that I've made? And would you like a bit of this, my red pepper hummus that I've made? And would you like some of my yogurt that I've made? It's like, it was just beautiful homemade food that tasted great with a cup of tea, standing around in his kitchen having a chat. I loved it. That kind of stuff just like fills my heart. And so I was thoroughly enjoying it. And then when Joyce came home and joined in the conversation, it was even better. And then we got a chance to pray over him as we were leaving, and it just felt like, wait, it hasn't even been 11 years since we've lived here. It just felt like we just kind of fit right back in.
They also had this when, you know, we were drinking tea and they were offering the girls squash and cordials, and there was a raspberry rose cordial that was amazing. And even though I'm on keto, I tasted it just to taste. That was fun. So it was a great day.
Great day.
Now we're packing up, and we're going to pull out at 4 a.m. Or we're going to get up at 4 a.m. and pull out by 4:45 to get our bus, to get our flight, and return home.
I know.